Hi everyone, welcome to the third lesson of the online course Debate for Secondary Schools. Now, this online course is powered by HIVE Educators with a partnership with the Kuala Terengganu District Education Department. So let's get into the third lesson now. So for this lesson, we are only focusing on the first speaker of the government. Okay, so there are five things we are looking at before you start: how you define the topic, how to introduce the team line, and how to outline the team roles, and also how to present your arguments. So these are the five elements that we're looking at only for the first speaker of the government. Now, if you are not the first speaker of the government, if you are like selected to be the third speaker, it's also good for you to actually watch this video to have an understanding on what happens with the first speakers. Okay, so let's quickly start. So before you start, first, as the first speaker, you must really understand the motion. Okay, because you are said to be the prime minister, you are the leader of the government. So you need to understand the motion, and you need to have a strong team line, because when you say your team line, you must say it with full of confidence, with full of gesture. You're saying it like, okay, this is our team line, that is your, like, the most important thing, that you put it out there in your debate, and you have to look confident, and you must understand the motion very, very well. um, you need to know your points and also know the second speaker's points. So when you guys are doing the discussion, okay, um, you must know uh, what is your point and what your second speaker is saying, because you will need to say, okay, as the first speaker, my point is under the keyword of say X, and my second speaker or my deputy prime minister will be giving his points under, or his or her points under, the keywords of Y and Z. So you need to know what the second speaker is also saying. Okay, you need to be confident with your team line, like what I just said, and align it with the motion. Okay, so not just understanding you understanding the motion is very important, but you must know your team line. You must be very strong with that. So that is before you start. Okay, now, how do you define the topic? You need to unpack each word, okay? But define the topic as a whole. That means each word must be defined. Each word must be defined, okay? But then, after you have defined each word, then you talk about the topic or motion as a whole, okay? As a whole. What does it mean? Okay? Um, that's important, okay? Focus on the specific controversial word, if there are any. So mobile phones should be banned in the classroom. The word banned sounds controversial. Focus on that word, define it, make that as your key argument. Okay, so if you are the government, you are supporting the motion, you are supporting that mobile phones should be banned. So you say mobile phones should be banned, must be banned. Why must it be banned? Because it's a distraction to education. Mobile phones in the classroom does not help students to stay focused. Mobile phones, and the word banned itself, what does it actually mean? Okay, banned from the classroom, not from the school. That means students can still bring mobile phones, leave it in the locker, but the moment they enter the classroom, no mobile phones. Of course, then if you want to have lockers, the school will need to spend more money, or they can have like small boxes which students can place their mobile phones. But then the issue of security, and no, anything that you say can be debated actually. Okay, but just to keep in mind, define the motion. Okay, define the keywords that you think that you are going to use throughout the debate. Those are very important. And some individual keywords need to be defined. This one we have already discussed even from lesson 1. Okay, introduce your team line. Okay, a line which illustrates your argument. Okay, this is the team line. Okay, so for example, mobile phones should be banned in the classroom. Okay, we wholeheartedly, okay, agree that mobile phones, I'm just going to put MB, yeah, mobile phones, right, MP, right, mobile phones should be banned. Okay, because no, you have to say in the classroom. Okay, you have to say this. If you just say mobile phones should be banned, you are missing the point. And the opposition, if the opposition is very smart, they are going to destroy you. Okay, so you have, like, again, keywords. Okay, but do not forget this kind of thing which sets the parameter. Okay, this one sets the parameter. So yeah, mobile phones should be banned, but where? in the classroom. Mobile phones can be brought to schools, of course. Students need to contact the parents. We do not have reliable public phones anymore. Yes, they can use mobile phones for group discussions in the library. Okay, great, but not in the classroom when the teacher is teaching. Okay, so introduce your team line. We wholeheartedly agree that mobile phones should be banned in the classroom because of various reasons, but strengthen it, use better words. This is a very simple team line that I'm giving you. Okay, but strengthen it, make it stronger. Okay, a team line is to strengthen your team's overall argument, and you need to make it clear to the audience. Okay, you need to make it very, very clear to the audience what your team line is. That means we wholeheartedly agree, we wholeheartedly disagree. Okay, whatever your team line is, you have to make it clear to the audience. Okay, outline the team roles. Okay, so first you need to outline your team roles by stating what points you will cover and what points the second speaker will cover. Okay, the third speaker will be doing rebuttals, so you do not need to know his or her points beforehand. You will not know also. uh, and all points must be logical and organized. Okay, if you notice in the second lesson, I have mentioned the first speaker, your point must be the strongest. Okay, sometimes what happens is the speaker, the team strategize that the second speaker will have the best points. Okay, that is great, that is good. If there's a strategy, go ahead. Strategies change. There's no one size fits all. Different teams will have different strategies, but I always say the first speaker, you must have the strongest point. You might be the you might, and you also have to be one of the good speakers in your team, but you must have the strongest point because you are going to set the tone. If your first speaker's points is not strong, remember, debate is very subjective. Sometimes the judges might not see it in a certain way. Okay, so your first speaker has to be strong, your second speaker equally strong as well, but the first speaker, you need to have the most solid points. Okay, always remember this. Okay, your second speaker, because you're doing the rebuttal, sometimes, even if you do not have stronger points, but if you do a very good rebuttal, you might be able to mask whatever whatever things that you're not strong at. You're able to mask that. Okay, but for the first speaker, your points will be seen, will be heard, because you are the first speaker and everyone is paying attention for the first speaker. The second speakers are a bit different because you're doing rebuttals. Okay, so this one again, go back to your notes for cohesive devices, penanda wacana, that's what they call it in Malay. Okay, and then present your arguments. So for your arguments, I always use this method called peel. Again, this is not like the best method, this is one method. Okay, I'm sure that you have different methods. Okay, and use whatever method that works for you, but I'm going to introduce you peel. So first you lay out your point. Okay, what is your point? Okay, mobile phone should be banned in the classroom. uh, should be banned in the classroom because it disrupts students focus, for example. Okay, students focus will be disrupted, and then you need to elaborate, what do you mean by focus? Okay, so your point, mobile phones disrupt. Oh my god, let me just put this, let me write better. Okay, this mobile phones disrupt focus, okay, in the classroom. Okay, so I'm not going to write in the classroom, but make sure you have it there when you speak. So then you need to kind of like, what is focus, what is students focus? Okay, students have shorter attention time span. Okay, and mobile phones, sometimes there is notifications coming in, and that could cause them to not focus in the classroom. Sometimes they might be taking videos in the classroom. These videos would be the examples. Okay, but rather the elaboration is just talking about, what do you mean by disrupting focus? What does that actually mean? Okay, what does focus mean? And what does the students will not pay attention? That would be also an example. Okay, and then you give your point, you give your huraian in Malay, or elaboration. Okay, what do you mean by focus and what do you mean by mobile phones? Okay, and mobile phones these days are they're very high tech, right? There's a lot of functions and students use different types of apps. So on all of that, and all of that, you can also give in as examples on how that disrupts. Okay, and finally you need to link back to the motion on what you mean. Okay, link back, that means bring back your point and link it to the motion. Okay, strengthen. And basically when I say link to your motion, you can basically, what you're doing is you're strengthening back your team line. Okay, you're strengthening it back your team line. Okay, and also points must be logical, organized, and relevant. Okay, again, when you lay out your points, make sure you have sequence connectors. So you say, my first point is mobile phones should be banned in the classroom because it disrupts focus, and then you give your elaboration. Okay, um, uh, as a consequence, mobile phones, students would spend more time on the mobile phones looking at their notifications, and this disrupts them from paying attention in the classroom. For example, we have seen time and time again, students have always used their phones, and most times their phones are on the table, and makes them this disrupts them from actually paying attention to the teacher. Therefore, this shows that we the government strongly suggest that mobile phones should be banned in the classroom. Now, what I just told you, that is not even a minute of the debate. Okay, that's very short kind of example that I'm giving you of peel. But if you really lay out your arguments, you give your point, you give your elaborations, like give 3 or 4 elaborations, and then you give really strong examples. Okay, like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. Okay, say all this. Okay, and then give some research. Maybe you have done your research, right? Drop in some of the studies that have been done, and then you link it back to the motion. You have a very strong, um solid point for you to put forth, a solid argument for you to put forth. And that could, as the first speaker, you have done all the introductions, all of that will be like 3 minutes, and this will add like a strong 3 to 4 minutes argument. Okay, so you can try peel. Like I said, this is not the only way, there are other ways. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope that now you have gained an insight into the roles and responsibility of the first speaker of the government. So we'll proceed now to lesson 4. Okay, thank you very much for listening.